Hey everyone, welcome back for the 5th episode of the Jeff and Rye Hockey Podcast with Jeff, Rye, and Stef. I'm Rye. I'm with Jeff and Stef as always. Jeff, how's she going?
Going good. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it. Hope everyone's ready to get tuned in here. We got a good one coming for you. Thanks, Rye.
Stef, how's she going, bud?
Oh, head up, stick on the ice. No big deal over here.
We got a great show for you guys lined up this week. We got a special guest right off the top of the show. We're going to get into some Leafs talk. We're going to get into who wore the pylon, the Pittsburgh situation with Ron Hextall and Brian Burke heading over there, Stef's can't miss bet, the Laine and Torts situation continuing in Columbus. We're going to go
get
around
on the bench.
NHL. Yeah, get to the bench. That's right. That all being said, I want to say that this episode is brought to you by Tillsbury Pizza Boy. Guys, if you haven't checked Tillsbury Pizza Boy out yet, you're missing out. They have a great Family Day special if you're looking for takeout on your special day together. Monday, February 15th only. Get 2 medium 4-topping pizzas, pound of wings, large Greek or Caesar salad, and garlic bread with cheese, with also a medium apple pie pizza for $59.99. Can't beat that. Cash, credit, or debit on delivery for your convenience. Visit TillsburyPizzaBoy.com for more info.
Rye, read that over again. I can't get over that, all that pizza, wings. Did you say a salad and you even get dessert
Give
in
it
there?
to us,
Can you
boys.
that back? That seems like a steal of a deal, man. Honestly, I want to hear that thing again one more time. Run
it
again,
back.
Man. That sounds awesome. Run it back for me, bud.
2 medium 4-topping pizzas, a pound of wings. You get a large Greek or Caesar salad, garlic bread and with cheese, and the medium apple pie pizza for $59.99. Guys, I don't know how you beat that.
It is true.
That is a steal of a deal. Go check them out. I know that deal only runs tomorrow, guys. Monday, tomorrow, Family Day. Who wants to cook? You want to spend that time with the fam jam, whatever you guys are doing, maybe getting outdoors, maybe playing a little pond hockey somewhere, keeping safe. Check them out, guys. Give them a call. See their website. Just go check them out, guys. They'll hook you up tomorrow.
All right. With all that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Jeff, and he's going to introduce our special guest and get us going. Jeff, on to you, bud.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate it. Guys, we got a great guest coming in here today for you guys. This individual was last cut as a 16-year-old from the Junior B Petrolia Jets. He worked his way. He worked his way onto the Wheatley Sharks roster after he was told that they already had their 16-year-old already picked. Went on to win the Rookie of the Year for the Great Lakes Junior C that year with 34 points in 30 games. I must also mention that he also, when winning the Rookie of the Year, knocked out and beat out Matt Martin, was in contention with this individual, and he was out-dueled Matt Martin for the Rookie of the Year. Went to play with the Leamington Flyers for 3 years, led the team in year 3 with 50 points in 50 games.
Not a big deal.
25. Oh, not a big deal. 25 goals, 25 assists. I should also, Steph, since you were talking about penalty minutes last year.
I was looking at it.
I should also throw out this individual led his team in penalty minutes that year. Maybe a couple scraps. We'll have to get his take on how those penalty minutes hyped up here in a minute. He was traded to the Chatham Maroons for his last year in Junior B. He led the Maroons in points with a rapid pace of 60 points in 50 games. I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, here today with us, Travis. Welcome to the show, bud. Welcome to the show.
What's up, boys? Holy mackerel. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
The twinkle of my eye.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We miss you, bud. Life gets so busy, right? Like, I know you got 3 kids, and things are crazy.
Yeah, both of us now 3 kids.
You guys write a memo to each other or what, boys?
It definitely goes by fast for sure when you have kids, right? I know life just seems to want to take off on you. Time doesn't slow down for nobody.
No, for sure. Like Nate hitting the double digits this year. It's like, I've had a kid for 10 years. Like, yeah.
That is crazy when you put it that way. I didn't realize Wink's already going to be 10.
I've still been acting like a kid for the last 10 years.
Yeah. For sure. Wink, Trav, if you don't, so for all our listeners out there, we're probably going to you're going to hear say Wink, Wink, Wink a lot. That's Travis's nickname. We call him Wink. So with that being said, Wink, why don't you tell our listeners what have you been up to these days, maybe a little bit about yourself and kind of who you are as a person and whatnot. And yeah, if you want, just fill everyone in there, please.
So like we just said there, I got three kids now, twin girls that are going to be 7 at the end of the month, and Nate just turned 10 in January. So life's pretty busy with that. Still doing the wind turbine technician thing. So been at that for 9 years, working for a great company there. And then, still doing a little bit of online coaching for the fitness thing. So, I mean,
Nice.
if any of our listeners are looking for training or,
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I love it. A little advertising. We'll charge you for that. After
Yeah, are you doing
that's going to cost you.
no
You
free ads
put
there,
that,
but are you doing like sports stuff too? Like, is that sports training as well? Or?
Well, right now doing a little bit of competitive athletes and some general health.
Okay.
So I do I'd say my niche is more people looking to make it to the stage, because that's kind of was my focus when
Absolutely.
I was doing research and all that on nutrition and training for myself. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, Trav. I know.
You didn't even get into it. Sorry, Reese. You didn't even get into his championship pedigree, getting up on stage either. On top of all the hockey.
Well, that's actually so that's gonna come. Don't worry,
Okay,
that is gonna
right.
come. Don't worry.
Well, if we're going to
for
there, right?
listeners,
We got to
both-
go to the OBA championship too, no?
Sure.
Yeah.
Multi-sport athlete here, boys.
Multi-sport athlete. Call him Bo Jackson.
Yeah, Steph, that's probably like the legit only thing I've actually won. So, I mean,
Can't leave that out there. No, you can't leave the OBA boys hanging.
That's great. Yeah, Trav, you're definitely a man of talents in many sports for sure, and we're going to get to that a little bit later on here. I did want to obviously ask you a little bit about the bodybuilding and kind of maybe, are you still pushing some weights right now, bud, or what are you up to there?
After my 2017, my last time competing, it was I kind of had to sit back and realize how hard it was on myself and my family.
Yep.
I want to mention that I've always done it naturally too. So I don't know if
juice here, boys. No juice here. Mark McGuire, the boys can take a hike. Ain't happening here.
Yeah, just with my sister and stuff, I've always kind of just wanted to stay away from that side of it, and like always kind of had that in the back of my head. But when you do it naturally, I mean, when you're getting that lean and stuff, it really suppresses some important hormones for a male and that kind of thing. So I just had to step back for it, and I don't know, maybe down the road, who knows, right? But I'm still training. Probably 4 or 5 days a week, eating, the chicken and rice most of the time. But on weekends, I still like to let loose a little more now. I gotta have some fun.
You still got your milk
right?
card though, right?
So we weren't.
If anybody's wondering, he'll still spin the mitts with you and drop your bucket off, so don't try.
Yeah. For sure. We actually weren't going to get into this a little bit later on, Wink. I had this plan, but we're going to dive into this first because we're already on topic. So for our listeners out there, Travis is a pro bodybuilder. He first competed for the first time in 2011. He competed again in 2014, received his natural pro card. Natural, the keyword there, right, Wink?
Yeah, I guess there's some opinion. Yeah,
for sure. Natural. Yep. Competed again in 2017. In 2017, he won overall at the Windsor show and then went on to win provincials that year. So that is pretty impressive. Definitely. We got a big deal here. It's a big boy that can lift some weights. He could probably pick me and Rye up at the same time, maybe.
Ooh,
or 60 degrees.
But yeah, exactly.
The backstrap.
No, for sure. So I know, Wink, you just mentioned like your competitive side. Like, what do you think? I know when you and I had our meeting on Wednesday in the middle of the week here, you were talking about that competitive edge that kind of led you into bodybuilding, and maybe you could explain the sport a little bit to our listeners so they would kind of have a better idea and a better understanding of what actually happens other than just men in Speedos with fake tanning lotion on or flexing their muscles, you know. It's
for
there's
sure.
a lot more to it than just going out on the stage, right?
Well, like definitely this one roots way back to, right? You know, you talk about me being 16 years old. You guys all know we always ripped it up in the driveway and stuff like that. I was always on the smaller end, right? So
yeah.
And my dad always said, you gotta start working out. You gotta start working out, and never listened to him. Nope, no, I'm just gonna play hockey. That's my thing, right? Like I'm good enough.
Yep.
All that, and then finally, 16 years old comes around, Petroleum Jets spring camp, and fitness testing. Holy, like, all right, this is getting serious now, right? So we had the bench
Sam
press,
Bennett numbers.
130, 135, right? That shouldn't be too bad. These guys are 16 to 20 years old. You should be, unrack it and just bury it on myself, right?
Did you have a spotter there or no? Were you yelling?
Oh yeah, but like literally just pulling it off, right? Like, holy! I watched another guy go right after me. He just pounded like 20 reps. I'm like, all right,
I got some work to do.
So, yeah.
Wink, did anyone laugh when it just caved on your chest, or did they?
I don't really remember the entire thing. I knew I was pretty embarrassed, but
laughing at myself.
It was pretty. Yeah. But Butch was the coach of that team, Butch Ott, right? So Steve. So he pulled me to the side after, and he goes, Winky, you know what? Don't even worry about that. Steve went to spit camp the same time, your age, did the exact same thing. So, that was, made me feel a little better, right? That kind of thing.
Well, and like to me, that goes back to Sam Bennett and his combine.
Oh, what's that?
I don't even think he did like one pull-up or something like that.
Yeah.
Mind you, I think he had a blown out shoulder, but that's no excuse, right?
Yeah. But that team was skating through the summer after that spring thing, and they gave us a workout program, right? So finally at that point, I was like, all right, like if this is really what I want to do, I think it's obvious, like I got to start working out here, right? So I had a pretty good summer. I was going into grade 11 that year. So, and then I really started to enjoy it, right? Like that was kind of my look forward to a daily basis, like, let everything go. Like,
yep.
Right? And that's still why I enjoy it to this day. So, like I said, I was a small guy. So at that point, I was probably 140 pounds when I was 16.
Yep.
And I worked out those whole 5 years through junior. And like my last year, I was probably a solid like 10% body fat, 185 pounds. So, and it clearly showed in my development through junior, right?
Well,
like,
I got elite prospect having you here at 5'11", 201 wing, pushing over the 200 bills mark on elite prospect.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. See, there might have been a little fudge in there. I might have been 180, but
put a rock in your pants when you wait for that one, or what?
Carried the 45-pound weight on the scale.
Everybody knows you just put down for a weight.
I was 6'1" in one day.
Yeah.
I'm only 5'8", though, boys. I'm only 5'8".
Yeah, I'm only 5'9.5". So right, like.
Oh, they nailed you at 5'11" on here. You took an inch and a half, eh?
Yeah.
A couple pounds and an inch and a half. I love it. I take an inch, but I usually tell them it's somewhere else.
Yeah. So yeah, like I mean, that's basically they caught the bug, and then when I finished my junior, I just continued to work out, and then I had a buddy that was competing in bodybuilding, and he kind of asked me like, Wink, you're really into the working out. You're a good sized guy, and my competitiveness, just like it was like, yeah, like let's do this kind of thing, right? So yeah, and I just then like I said, you gotta do the whole 9 yards with bodybuilding. It's your diet every day, sleeping is important, all that hydration, so it's more of a full round sport than showing up the rink for 2 hours. But like we were talking on Wednesday, Reese, like that these guys in the NHL and even in junior are taking it to this level,
Absolutely.
man. Right. So
exactly. You brought that point up on Wednesday, Wink, and I guess I didn't even think about it that way. You said, like these guys in the NHL, they're fully committed to their diets, a workout routine, and their day in, day out, proper rest, proper sleep, back to the rink, rinse and repeat.
Oh, those guys
day,
have
right?
a kindergarten routine, midday naps and shit. I love it.
Yeah, I like that, Stef. I didn't even think of it that way,
dude.
Bud.
Straight jelly of those guys.
Yeah. That's
So
great.
I got a question for you there, Wink. Did you play with Blake in your last year of Chatham there?
Yeah. So me and Moose, he was. I think that was his first year playing B. So, yeah. So yeah, we rode to get. I was driving at that point, right? So we rode together quite a bit. We got pretty close that year, and yeah, I mean, like to see where a Tilbury boy like him, like he didn't play that the AAA growing up, right? Always an awesome skater because of the figure skating he did on the side and stuff like that. But for him to go on to be captain of the Windsor Lancers, I don't think a lot of people expected that. But that just shows the work ethic of that. And you could see that when he was 17.
Oh, absolutely,
too, right?
absolutely. I got a story about Blake. I should have told this last week when he was on the pod, but just got me remembering it when you're talking about work ethic and whatnot. And we were playing ball hockey, and it was on the full-size rink there. And we were running back and forth, and we both get off at the same time. I'm sitting there. I got my head in my knees. I'm breathing heavy. I like a big boy does. And I look over at Blake, and he's breathing a little heavy, so I don't feel too bad. And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, I love this." That's the moment I realized that there was something different with that one. That's what I do.
Wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, like I said, we're riding together. I pick up Moose. He just got off the bus or something from school on a Wednesday practice, and he's got a Tupperware full of food. Like he's just, I'm not talking lunch, like sandwich Tupperware. Like I'm talking
he's got the whole crock pot. He's got the whole crock pot with him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Plug and all.
Yeah.
Wink, I thought it was pretty interesting. You're talking about being a smaller guy going into Petrolia camp, and obviously I know you had some opportunity maybe to continue playing at a higher level, maybe early. And with how NHL players go, a lot of these guys are being seen and drafted and looked at a very young age, even as young as 16. They kind of have an idea of where they're going to develop to. Do you think it would have made a difference today, being that, guys are just smaller in general, guys like Mitch Marner, Johnny Gaudreau, going out and doing really well in the league? Do you think that would have made a difference for you in terms of maybe not trying to focus on getting bigger and stronger? Because obviously, 10, 15 years ago when you were playing still, that was a big part of the game. Fighting was a lot more involved. I'm just interested to hear, because you were always super skilled. If that was, if that's something that ever crosses your mind, if you kind of grew up in this generation, would things have been different?
Yeah, I don't really think so, to be honest, right? Like, because when I went to Spitz camp as a 17-year-old, that was Ryan. Yeah, lost it too. Welcome to the OHL. But that was Ryan Ellis's first year, right? So I mean, there's a small player. And I think, like as you said, like I always was decently skilled, but man, I'm telling you, these guys that are 16 making the O, like their talent's on another level, right? And maybe I didn't quite have that, right? So I mean, to me, I kind of turned my game more into like a power forward. So as a small guy, I couldn't play like that, right? So that kind of transformed my game to get me where I am, right? So I think if I was that skilled, that small, I still could have maybe made it, right? But it just transitioned my game so much, being able to use that strength with the skill I had, right? So
for sure, and I think that's probably of you saying that, right? Like it's obviously the game has changed a lot even since you were playing competitively. Like it's like I said, I don't like guys like Marner. I guess he's on like the super skilled end. But yeah, no, like I'm sure you could comment on how different the game is now compared to when you were playing.
Oh, no, for sure. Like you see the skill level of these 18, 19-year-old guys coming in on their entry levels. Like it's absolutely ridiculous, like that's what you're seeing. Like these back end guys that are 31 years old, they're out the door almost, right? Like you got to be an absolute elite player to play after the age of 30 in this league.
There's
now.
no such thing. Like they don't sell slow boots anymore. Every boot they sell is a hot boot. Like there's no such thing as slow boots anymore.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. You're right, Stace. Like everybody can skate, man. Like, yeah, 100%.
So, Trav, that's good that you touched on kind of a little bit of the differences maybe from the game back then to the game now. And like Ryan mentioned, that is really humble of you to say that. Now, I know you talked when you first came on there about yourself, about having 3 kids, and your oldest is, he's now 10 years old, Nate. Happy birthday, Nate. To you there, Nate. And, yeah, buddy. And so if you would just maybe touch now, Wink, like, I know I got to go see Nate play last year in January, February. The kid's a heck of a player. Reminds me a lot of yourself at that age. I remember being just a young kid going to watch you play, Wink, when you were in novice or Adam, and watching you go end-to-end up the ice, coast to coast, no problem. And I see that Nate already, he's got some of his dad's skill, that's for sure. What would you say is a big difference from now, putting yourself in the father and coaching role compared to being the kid in the player role? Like, could you just speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's definitely a big transition, and I think there's a lot of differences to it. But like honestly, all in all, it's been awesome, right? Because when Nate was first born, I you don't really focus on hockey right away, right? Like you're taking care of a baby, and he's slowly growing, and then he's 2, 3, so you start getting him on the skates and stuff like that.
Like you're trying to learn all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not really, but like as he started getting into hockey, it kind of brought back my love for the game because I lost it a little, right? I said I transitioned to bodybuilding. That was pretty heavily focused on and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, and I'm done playing. I still played some beer league and stuff like that, but like seeing your kid, like I just found like it's like that light, like, came back, right? And then when you start coaching and stuff like that. But honestly, Reese, like on the transition, like from when I was a kid to when he was and stuff like that, I know you see all these skilled coaches now stick handling through the lazy defenseman and yada, yada, yada. And it looks good. And half the kids have their heads down. I think some of that stuff's okay. Like, throw one of those lazy in the middle of the skating drill, something like that, right? But I don't. At the end of the day, man, like you're still skating the circles, you're still doing the crossovers, boys. Like like you're still doing all the basics, right? And like Stef said, like skating's everything now. Like
it is.
This last year, like these boys were they would have been minor Adam in the first year of AAA, right? Like we had some ice time for some of these kids that age, and like the coach just focused on skating for 40 minutes every practice, right? And like with pucks, without pucks, like, everything, right? Doing the mohawks, and you could just see that from September to December that, the speed of these kids, right? And kids that aren't getting like skating like that,
like
you notice the
factor of it too.
huge.
Like when you become a good skater, like you get nudged in the back a little bit when you're on the boards, you're battling for a puck. You're not going to fall right over like Bambi legs or nothing. You're gonna be able to stick around and hold your own in there a little bit.
Yeah. So like as much as like I find like some of these skilled coaches are trying to sell all this fancy edge work and stuff like that, we're only getting 2-3 skates a week, right? Even at the AAA level.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta still go with the basics, right? And that's great if your parents can afford you to do some extra skill stuff, because that will help too, right? But as a general hockey team at this age, it's not really that much different, right? So
no, for sure, definitely. I know on Wednesday there when we met up there, Wink, we're talking. I was talking about like the dream, right? The NHL dream. And I know like as kids playing hockey, especially all us being Canadian kids, we just look at the game of hockey as young chaps, and we just someday dream of being in the NHL. And I think at one point or not, we all realized,
what do you mean?
We're just not getting there. And I kind of shared with you that, yeah. I kind of shared with you, like, I remember to a certain time back for myself and Pee Wee. I remember before that summer started, I said, you know what, I'm going to rollerblade every day. I'm going to strengthen up my legs, and I'm going to try out for AAA whenever in the spring or in the fall, sorry, and we'll see what happens. Well, I didn't put the rollerblades on once, and I quickly came to realize that my NHL dream was done right then and there. So I didn't have much of the commitment side of things. But, you know, as mentioned earlier before I brought you on here, Wink, I went over your stats and kind of who you were and as a hockey player, and, you know, leading the Flyers in points your second last year, and then going to lead the Maroons again in points, so 60 points in 50 games. Clearly you had some talent there, and I'm sure at one point in time, just like any other Canadian kid that was good at hockey, you had a dream of playing in the NHL. Maybe you didn't, maybe you did, but I'm sure that you thought about playing higher end hockey your whole life. When do you think that dream kind of became just a far-fetched, out of reach to you, that you realized, yeah, I'm probably not going to play in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, like I said, I touched on earlier, I went to Spitfires camp as a walk-on as a 17-year-old, right?
Yep.
They didn't even ask me to play an exhibition game, because if you do stay over your 48 hours, you lose eligibility for the NCAA.
Yep.
So that was my first kind of like wake up, like, yeah, you're not really there to make the O. So my focus after that was to kind of be the best junior B player I could be. And I knew guys from that league that went on to get Division I scholarships, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of started thinking I was going to try and go that way if I could, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of my goal there, right? So I never really gave up yet, right? Always, you know, people do the D1 thing and then not go on to play their 4 years and still make it, right? Like you got Hyman and some of those guys. Right?
Look at Montour. I don't think Montour ever played in the O. He was always tier 2, like junior B. I don't know if he played a little junior A up that way, but I don't think he did. And he ended up
USHL.
The league he played is like the equivalent to the O here.
Okay,
I would say.
Oh, but it's a little bit higher pace.
Yeah, okay. They can get
higher talent
scholarships out of that league though, right? Like but they have a draft, and it's the whole Yeah, you're right, Stef. Like it's not as good as the O, I guess, all in all, but it's knocking on the door, right? But even me, like I seen guys as I played B, like third and fourth liners go up and down for games and stuff, and I mean, I don't know, it's right, like it some of those players when you know what I mean, right? Like yeah, but you know those top two lines are obsolete in the O, right, for most teams. So
yeah, maybe Trav, maybe uplift us a little bit here. I know you got a story here to tell about about Ryan and Stef, the both of them. If you want to dive into this story, you and I had a little laugh reminiscing about this. It's a great story. I'm gonna let you tell.
All right. So let's go back a little here, right? So everybody obviously knew like 18 Rose Ave, right, was the road hockey hotspot in Tilbury, right? Like
every day after school, man, I remember Bobby and I would run to your front doorstep, sit on the porch, just wait for you to get off the bus. You'd open the garage. Big game was on, boys, every day.
Yeah, every day, right? So I mean, we gotta give a shout out to Billy for letting us just rip up that driveway, right?
Oh, so. That garage door took a pounding, dude. I remember he's like when I put the new garage door and you boys are on the road and to the tennis courts, that's it. Enough's enough.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, so I mean, obviously Dad was always good to us and stuff like that. And, but we got to the point where like it was, I think by this time we were like 12 or 13, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He goes, boys, I don't mind you guys getting the stuff out, ripping around a little bit, but, shut the garage, whatever. So we're getting warmed up. I think Rye's throwing the pads on, and Stace just takes a clapper from back of the driveway and right through the window in the garage.
Give him the cross. I swear to God, just give him the cross.
So, yeah, that was, yeah. So Dad comes out, and our neighbor Bell across the street does the windows, right? So I think he goes to Stace.
40
All right, I'll meet you halfway, yeah, $40. It was 8. Yeah, exactly. So that was, I think, around October time. So it was getting to be about Christmas.
Oh, at least. It was a little ways away, I think.
Yeah.
It was right around Christmas time, right? So,
yeah.
So here we go, big game again, right, boys? And so Stace shows up that day, and gives my dad the $40, right? And
for the new window, yep.
Billy's like I didn't think I was ever going to see that. Right on, right, whatever. So we're getting warmed up. Someone's getting ready to play goalie, and you know how we used to just skate around, talk, shoot the shit, all that. So all of a sudden, clapper from the back of the driveway, wow, right through the window. Rye takes out the window like literally 10 minutes after Stacey pays my so I think we were playing. I don't know if Rye had some Christmas money or something, but I want to say we played poker or something.
Yeah.
Poker the night before, and Rye won or something, and he was all pumped. He had $40, but he walked down, three doors down from us, walks down.
My favorite part about that
day,
story was it's like there was one pane on the right and one pane on the left, and I broke the one on the right, so that was brand new. And Bill comes out when Ryan breaks it.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks at us and he goes, "You guys couldn't break the other damn window." We broke the brand new one.
Oh yeah.
That was great. I'll never forget it because it was so funny. Like the day Stef pays the bill is the day Rye goes and puts the ball back.
That was you couldn't write that kind of stuff.
After that, we were designated to the road or to the tennis courts after that.
I don't think I shot another ball in the driveway after that.
Yeah. No, Wink, you're definitely, from playing road hockey, I know us kids could all attest to it, and any sport you played, you were just so competitive and great at everything you did, man. Whether it was a golf club, 225, putting one in your hands and just driving it down the middle there for 225 yards, or, you were any at least that was maybe
that's
in
better.
Like grade 7, grade 8, he was doing that. Yeah. Oh, that's what I remember him and Rye having those great battles.
Until I just said I'm going to be the boss.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Be
exactly.
good at better than me at every sport. I had to pick one, and I just happened to pick the one that's the easiest one so you don't have to be in shape.
And I remember Wink, you're definitely just like any of us, we hate losing, but when Rye would beat you at golf, I know deep down he used to drive
Rye
you
would
crazy.
be smirking.
I know Rye would have that smirk.
Oh yeah,
that smirk Rye
gives will drive any man crazy.
Oh yeah,
that little.
Oh, but man, you gotta look back and love that though, right? Like you gotta look back and love that, right? Like I mean, we were like he's my little brother, right? Like
yeah,
we went to the course so many times together, and and there was a point, right, where I was definitely better than Ryan. Like, but, I mean, I think he was 11. So
yeah. Yeah, you were a teenager. He was 11.
Yeah.
My first round, he was 11.
But yeah. About 3 years later, I was eating my words, right? So.
I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, dude, like I got obviously, like you said, growing up with you, man. Like it was, you gave me my competitive drive. Obviously, I don't think I ever had as much as you, but that was the reason why I gave a shit about anything. Is because you being 2 years older and obviously more matured, it pushed me to try to be better at everything. So I still have that. Like I always want to be the best at what I'm doing, and that was because of you. Like we were always pushing each other.
Yeah. Amen to that, Raya. I agree with that. What you just said, 100%. Because I remember the first time I met Travis playing some road hockey and whatnot. Braden was his neighbor, and I'd go over there and I'm like, this kid's
used to call him
everything he does, like baseball, goalie. Oh. And I just knew I had to up my game. So I literally got so competitive because I remember when we'd play road hockey, it would always be Ryan and Travis versus Bobby and I. And I'd be goalie and Wink, you'd always be shooting on me. And I knew I had to bring my best game every single game in net, man, to be able to hang in there with you.
It was I remember we were playing baseball and just rookie ball, just young kids. And Wink could bunt it and then run a home run, I swear to God. He could bunt the ball and get a home run. I swear to God. They called him track. So fast. Train track. He was just like a train.
Speaking of baseball, trying to catch for that guy. I remember we were at the beach because we used to cottage. Our families would cottage together.
That's when you had your pet fish.
That's right. Yeah. We'd always throw the ball at the beach, and I would catch and Trav would throw his pitches, and he'd start getting. He was able to put some curve on the ball and whatnot, and I'd be down there, and you'd go to catch for him, and I don't know how many I ate off the top of my foot or my shin or anything. And when you're a little kid and you're eating those, like, I don't know how fast you could throw back then, Wink, but it felt like it was super fast.
We used to have that baseball that had the time in it. Remember, Wink? That thing was sweet.
My shins and the feet were always beat up after catching. I guess I got to learn to catch better. But
speaking of shins, Winky's shin at the OVAs there the one year. When you cut your shin off that.
Oh, that's yeah. Your dad had to drive me to hospital.
Like a warrior.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Wink. Before we get into your leaves here, Rye or Steph, do you guys have any questions before we dive into the hot?
No, I'm ready to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm ready. Rip this Band-Aid off.
You ready?
Go with the leaves.
Right, Rye, you ready? Rye, I know you've been patiently waiting for this conversation to happen. Yes, and
obviously, Wink, I want to get your thoughts on the Leafs this year. It's they finally look like they're able to do something. I think, obviously there's I forget what Steph calls them, but the track pants and
the sweatpant Leafs fans.
Yeah, those guys, they kind of give us the bad name, but as being like a real Leafs fan and a realist about how they've been over the years, basically, of our lives, they haven't been very good outside of a couple of years. And then now this year, it seems like they finally got a team put together. They got some good veterans in there. The kids are starting to mature and get better. Obviously, Matthews and Marner just look unreal to start the year. What are your thoughts watching the boys early on in the season here?
Yeah, I think definitely that's the most noticeable thing this year for sure is the steps I think that Matthews and Marner are starting to take, right? Getting that little bit more mature and starting to really become NHL All-Stars, right? I mean, you can see it in the summer, McDavid going down there to Arizona with Matthews, and you can't tell me that Matthews wasn't picking that guy's brain and watching what he was doing and eating.
Oh, for sure.
All that, right? I think it obviously rubbed off. I mean, the guy's having an absolutely unreal. As much as Marner, I do think he's taking a step, but I mean, at the end of the day, he is playing with Matthews and that, right? And I think he might be the Achilles heel with the $11 million deal. I mean, I'm not convinced he's that $11 million player, but
like Leaf fans always like, to me, Marner always gets put on the back burner or gets lost in the Matthews Tavares talk. Like, you got Marner is leading the team in points right now. I know it's early, and I get it that he's passing the biscuit to Matthews, and Matthews does all the work and gets the goals. But I mean, he is leading the team. I think he can't be overlooked somewhat. Like, what do you think would have been a more reasonable, like maybe 9-10 million then, Trav? Like 9 mil for that? Because he's
I think 9.5, right? And you're using that, or maybe even 9. I mean, I guess these contracts, when the cap does go up, we'll see how they pan out. But I mean, that's what I mean. He's highly skilled, but you got at that level, I feel like you have to have another kind of side of your game with a little bit of edge, or defensive, right? No, but just like that, like, and I mean, I don't know, like, I feel like a close hockey player is watching him pretty closely, and he gives the puck away a decent amount, or puts his defense in tough situations sometimes when he's. So, I mean, I don't know, little things like that.
It's funny that you said this, Jeff, because we were saying the same thing last night about the Marner-Matthews idea, where Marner doesn't get the love and Matthew gets all the love. And for me personally, I think it's because, like, I know that, like, I can put Matthew on with, like, plugs, and he'll be able to drive his own line. Where I don't know if Marner can drive his own line without having talent on both sides of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. I see where you guys are coming from with that, definitely.
Right?
What
do you think, there, big boy?
Well, I agree. Like, I'm a Matthews guy. There's no doubt about it. You guys know that. I definitely think Matthews is the better player. While the Marner negotiation was going on, nothing against the guy, but I agree. I didn't think he was worth that kind of dough, especially as a complimentary player. I don't think he's, like you said, Stef, a play driver. Yes, he's leading the team in points, but majority of his points are assists. I know this year his goal was to score more goals, but he's a playmaker. And to me, the goal scorer is always going to be more important than the playmaker. The playmaker doesn't get points that the guy scoring the goals. So Matthews has started at, his whole career, he's been on unbelievable goal pace. He's not as good as Ovechkin, obviously, early in his career, kind of different timeline in terms of what the NHL is like. But certainly, other than Ovechkin, his goal totals have been really impressive.
5-on-5 like one of the better goal totals since he's been in the league?
Oh, yeah. Ovechkin gets a ton on the power play. That's true. Matthews, 5-on-5, he's probably one of the best goal scorers in the last decade. Yeah. I think Matthews is worth every penny. He's still able to set up goals as well. Not obviously to the extent of Marner, but I think outside of those guys, I think it's been the other additions. TJ Brody, his first couple games were a little bit suspect, but outside of that, he's been unreal with Morgan Riley. Justin Halls came in and played really well. He's had a couple hiccups, but him with Muzzin's been a really good pair. That's made a big difference. Simmons, before he got hurt, was playing great. The Wayne train, hop on that board. Whenever he gets back, that'll be important for the guys.
Hey, Dubas, can I just get you to stop right there? Before you talk about every before you talk about every player on the team, Dubas, sorry, I just wanted to get your guys' take quickly on Anderson, the goaltender. Do you guys feel he's good enough to win a cup with the Leafs this year? And wait, one more question to go with that to Travis and Dubas would be, do you also think, what does this team need? What piece are they missing to put them over the top to be cup?
Trav, you can start.
Year?
All right. I definitely question Andy sometimes, right? Like, I mean, the goal this week against, I don't know, whoever they're playing. Oh, yeah, like that angle, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. That's got to be stopped, in my opinion. But, I mean, there's hot nights and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think with the with the team they have, they don't really have a choice, right? They have to. They can't afford a $8, $9, $10 million goalie. So I mean, they're going to have to try and get it done. But I definitely think it's possible, right, man? Honestly, like, we can pump the Leafs tires all we want, but we're still like 12 games into the year here. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's a short season.
And with the structure this year, I mean, right? Like, let's be honest, the North Division's helping us.
Yeah,
so,
you're not having to face Tampa or anything like that, Boston,
right? Like, yeah, you haven't seen nothing, right? So I mean, like, it's going to be a completely different year. Like, great, you make it maybe in the North Division this year, but who are you playing next? So I don't know. That's what my whole thing is. Like, I love the way the Leafs are playing, and I think they got that jam this year. Like, I really do. I see it, right? Like, I think they have a good nucleus there, and like the additions of Thornton and like he's saying, right? Like, probably the strongest D-core they've had, and that's all great. But I mean, you see these Cinderella stories all the time where teams come together.
Look at
and
Dallas last year. I don't think
St. Louis, whatever, right?
The
like
run they did, like with an interim coach too, and all that. Like,
no, for sure.
So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So Wayne, quickly then before we get Rye's take here, what are they missing? What piece do they need? Do they have to go out and get to be the Cup champs this year?
I don't know. Like, I don't think right now, I don't think you screw with that. Like, you don't mess around with it, right? All of a sudden you make a trade or something, you know, like how they're rolling right now with my experience and stuff. I think we just keep playing. And, at the second half, we, before the trade deadline, we start dropping off and try and make something happen. But, I mean, for me right now, we just roll with the punches and keep this up, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. Rye, what are your thoughts on Anderson and possibly adding a piece here at the
obviously Anderson hasn't been great, I don't think, to start the season. He's had a couple of games where he's been decent. The last 4 especially, he's been pretty good. But like Wayne said, they're not in a position this year to do anything at net. If they're going to do anything in the playoffs, it's going to be with Anderson in net. That's just the way it's going to be. I think that's something they address in the offseason. I don't think he comes back next year. And then they'll have to make that move if to a different goaltender at that time.
Well, and hopefully by next year you get a little cap raise too, eh?
Well, hopefully. But he's making $5 million. If you're able to move a couple of pieces, maybe free up a little bit more, you're going to have enough money to get a good goalie back there. So
absolutely,
it is what it is. I just don't see Anderson coming back. In terms of the piece, the one thing I would say is that with Anderson, obviously with him not playing well, if the Leafs weren't playing well defensively in front of him, the Leafs record probably would have been around 500. Like, his save percentage is just over 900. Like, he hasn't been, like I said, great. But the Leafs, a lot of nights, they were notorious for giving up 35, 40 shots a night the last few years. And this year, outside of a couple games, like, a lot of them have been in the 20s, low 20s. I've had games under 20. So that's really promising, seeing that they're able to keep the shots down and the scoring chances low, obviously, to give Anderson the best chance to try to play well. And he's still fumbled a bit, but they've been able to outscore those problems. So that's good for them. In terms of making a move, I agree with Wink. I probably wouldn't change too much. Apparently, there's some rumors that they're trying to add another depth forward, which to me makes sense. They haven't had a lot of scoring outside the top guys. To me, like, if you're going to bring somebody in, if you can get a second line winger or something like that, or a third line winger, I think that would be big.
Like a Konechny or somebody?
Yeah, like Alex Kerfoot has had a tough start to the season. Obviously, coming in to replace Kadri, he hasn't really lived up to that role. He's making 3.5 on the books. I could see a situation where him and a guy like maybe Dermott or Engvall or one of those extra guys that are decent players, but they're not going to score a ton of points for him. If they could move a package like that, maybe with a pick, and get, somebody that's a little more higher offense player that can play a little, be responsible defensively, I think that would probably be the move that would push him over the edge. But if that move isn't available, then you stick with what you got, because I think the team's playing pretty good.
Yeah, I think you guys have great takes there, and I think Stef would say the same. You don't want to mess too much with the formula of success that you seem to figure it out early on in the year. With that being said, Ryan, I'm going to thank you for letting me do the interview part of this portion. It's been a lot of fun on this side of thing, getting to set this up with Trav and meeting and getting to know him. And I'm going to hand this over to you, Ryan, to take on the next segment of the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. So, boys, it's time for Who Wore the Pylon, our weekly segment that we're starting to really enjoy. This week, again, sponsored by Retro 21. With this lockdown, everything in our lives has been put on hold, including getting your flow trimmed up. Retro 21 Barbershop and Hair Salon in Tilbury, Ontario is the spot to get your salad cut or the nice fade you've been trying to give yourself since COVID started. Not just for the lads, Tiffany works with any hair and will make all the ladies look and feel their best. Opening back up this week, February 16th. Call to book your appointment today at 519-682-0353. That's 519-682-0353. Or visit their Facebook page at Retro 21 Barbershop and Hair Salon.
Get your lettuces cut.
Right on.
Get out there. Take care of them lettuces. It's Valentine's Day. Tuck your ugly mugs under your hats for now. But on the 16th, we want to see you booked up.
That's right. I like it, Stace. I agree. I actually got my appointment set for Wednesday for Drayden and I, and I'm looking forward to for getting a nice fade done.
Yeah, you're in need of it, bud.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, dude. I need some work.
That being said, let's get rocking right into Who Wore Your Pylon. Steph, who wore your pylon, bud?
Well, last night I was watching this Dallas-Carolina game, and Carolina's up 2-1, going into the final minutes here, and they're coming down on a 2-on-1 empty net. Tio Teravana decides to do a spin around behind the back pass at the blue line instead of just leaning on the D-man, taking it to the hoop, and just burying it, taking the win, and going home. Instead, the D-man makes a great play. They turn the puck around, go down the ice. Joe Pavelski goes bar-titty down. A tie game to overtime. It's just stupid. Stupid move, stupid mistake. Puck's deep if you don't got a choice. You never make that move on an empty net when you're up in the game.
I love that. That's good. I didn't see that one, Steph. That does sound. So did their team at least somewhat salvage the win in OT or shootout to bail them out, or
no?
No. Oh, that's terrible, dude. The coach is
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure. Or after.
Rod DeBod isn't happy over there in Carolina.
Wayne, who wore your pylon, bud?
I gotta bring up the Sabres and Taylor Hall. I mean, this guy's obviously Hart Trophy winner. 1 goal in 11 games, -6. I mean, with the contract year coming up next year, I mean, ex-Spitfire, you want to see him get paid, right? So
at this rate, you better enjoy that. Get it together a little bit. That might be the last 8 million.
I like it. Better put that in a good investment, Stace?
Get in the cryptocurrency.
That could be it. That could be all she wrote, boys.
He'll be with Hosang in Sweden next year.
Tell him to get a hold of Yager. I heard he's still playing too.
This week, my pylon's going to Adam Larson. I don't know if you boys seen the play, but Adam Larson, one of the Ottawa forwards, were racing into Edmonton's end. It was kind of a mini break for Ottawa, and Larson got his stick on it and ended up going top cheddar on his own goalie. Which, I mean, you could partially give the pylon to Ottawa, saying that they only scored 1 goal against Edmonton on Koskinen there, and obviously Edmonton hasn't been doing too well, as well. So, but no, my pylon's going to Adam Larson. You can't score top cheddar on your own goalie. Reese, who wore your pylon, bud?
All I gotta say is at least it was top cheddar for Larson's sake, right? Like, if you're gonna score on your own net, it better be like post or bar down and in.
In the slot and went like crossbar out. I think it was on Markey.
Yes. Yeah, but Reese, what if that's like your nicest goal?
Yeah, but like at least if it's post or bar down, at least you know he's trying to at least
playing
miss
post
the
out
net
there.
somewhat. It's close. Like, or if yeah, I guess I don't know. But I'll go and chalk my pylon up here to Tuukka Rask. They were playing the Rangers there earlier in the week, and it's a 2-2 hockey game, and Rask just not aware of what the score was. There's about a minute and a half left in the third period, and he thought they were down a goal, and he just jets off towards the bench, like not even realizing what's going on, that the game's tied 2-2. His teammates are all yelling at him to get back, go back to his net. He was kind of, what the heck? What do you mean? He skated back, thankfully, and got back there in time. But, I mean, you're a professional goalie, you're a professional athlete. You need to be aware of what the score is and how much time's left at all times. That's
I'm going to start calling him J.R.
I got to go with Tuukka, the pylon there. Tough to.
Does he know what the score is out here?
J.R. Smith.
So that was a great segment again, brought to you guys by Retro 21 Barbershop and Hair Salon. If you haven't check them out. Wayne, we wanted to thanks for coming on, man. Like, it was a great chatting with you. We really appreciate you coming on and telling your story, and it was great to catch up.
Yeah, I love to have you back, bud.
Yeah, no, thanks, boys. This was great. Some good laughs. Obviously, I'll be always tuning in. So, I mean, I'd love to come back on at some point, but definitely, hopefully, when we get a little nicer weather here, maybe we can get out for a round.
Name this noise,
boys. So,
yeah, you know what that is? No, it's your Oli fan.
When? I don't know.
I turned an actual fan on my house just for that, by the way. All right, Wade, we appreciate you coming, though. You've been a beauty.
Thanks.
It's definitely good to talk to somebody who's maybe played it a little higher than we have and been involved in it a little longer than we have. So it's great knowledge and good talking to you, bud.
Yeah.
No, thanks,
all the
boys.
best, Wayne.
All right.
We'll see you soon. We'll be in touch, bud. Take care.
All right, Travis Wainforth, ladies and gentlemen. That was a great interview.
You guys are legends.
Glad that
I can't believe you guys brought up the big game. Oh, those were the days.
Oh, dude, they were those road hockey games. I just can't get over kids nowadays. They don't do, like, they're so on their phones.
That's the only thing we use our phone for, was the text big
game.
game.
That, man.
That's the only purpose of it.
Yeah, just exactly.
What are you talking about? We sent fire signals up in the smoke signals up in the sky. Be like, all right, it's game time.
In the front yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Boys, so yeah, let's keep it on rolling. Reese, I'm going to pass it off to you. I know you got a story there with what's going on in Pittsburgh and Brian Burke and Ron Hextall and all that stuff. So what do you got for us?
Yeah, thanks, Rye. So earlier in the week for our fan interview this week, we got to catch up with the Penguins fan.
Great
Dylan.
interview,
I'd like
too,
to
by the
thank
way.
Dylan for taking his time to do that interview. Yeah, you did a great job, bud. And it was great to get just a little in-depth at the Penguins from his side of things. So a couple podcasts ago, Rye, the title was, they lost Jim Rutherford, the GM of the Penguins, resigned kind of abruptly and out of nowhere. He had a year left on his contract still. And as you mentioned, rumor was that he tried trading Letang. Ownership shut it down. He then resigned from his job, and it left that GM position in a vacant without anyone in that position. So now we kind of waited a week and a half to kind of see how this was all going to play out. And we come out to find that Brian Burke is now hired on as head operations of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Ron Hextall, the old GM for the Philadelphia Flyers, is now going to be hired on as the GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, a whole new set of hope now literally awaits and to see what these GM and Brian Burke are going to be able to bring to the table. There's, a lot of questions still out there. I don't know if it's answered still to myself. Like, are they rebuilding or are they in a win now state? And I'm going to pass this one over to you first, Rye, to kind of see what you might know, if you have any inside story or something you can tell us about where the state of Pittsburgh Penguins might be going from here.
Basically, just from what I've heard from all the head guys there in the media, basically it sounds like they're going to try to continue to win now. They believe that their older players, Malkin, Crosby, and Letang, are good enough still if they can surround them with good pieces. But they, at the same time, they want to restock their their prospect pool, I mean, it's pretty slim pickings back there in terms of prospects coming up. So they're going to try to do both at the same time, which to me is easier said than done. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I know Brian Burke was pretty critical of Pittsburgh, saying that they're not going to be able to get it done with the team they got. And now he's kind of saying that they're going to have to make it work with their veterans and then try to bring some other pieces around them. They're pretty tight up against the cap. I don't see them being able to do a whole lot, but I mean, good on them if they're able to pull that off and compete and restock the cupboards at the same time. I mean, good on them, but I got to think that their window is closing here soon. Like those guys, like I said, aren't getting any younger. If it was me, I'd be trading Malkin and Letang and starting over with Crosby, and hopefully he's still there and you're able to win another cup with him there. But they're going to try to keep the band together and build around them. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I know, especially being in a win now situation, Ron Hextall in Philly was really much of a GM that would hold prospects down in terms of trying to make sure that they're ready to play. That partially led to his departure in Philly. He wanted Carter Hart to have another season in the AHL to get more prepared, and ownership wanted to bring him up, which they ultimately did, and that left Ron Hextall leaving the team. So it'll be interesting because I know they want to win now, and Hextall hasn't shown that he's in a rush to move prospects and to bring them up. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Stef, thanks for sharing that, right? That was a great piece there, by the way. Stef, I know you're good for a bold take, buddy. What bold take would you, if you were the GM?
Well,
right
I got
Hextall,
two quick little side notes here first.
What are you doing,
If Carter Hart keeps playing the way he does, he just might see a stint in the AHL. Just saying, man, he's been struggling lately, and he needs to get his game back because it's been scary over there in Philly. But on the Ron Hextall thing, wow. Let's just say this household was a fan of Ron Hextall in his playing days. We didn't mind an old two-hand chop to somebody's neck. We were okay with that kind of stuff in this. Well, my mom used to say whack and stack him, So that was just a prime example of what we think of Ron Hextall. The other thing I wanted, does anyone know how much Berkey got paid? I'm just wondering how much money it takes for him to change his opinion that fast.
No.
You know what I mean? The guy's just jumping side to side here. If you jump enough, you might fall in that puddle, Berkey. Be careful. But all in all, though, I think Pittsburgh, really seeing them letting go of Fleury and letting him get taken by Vegas, and now not having Murray, you're really seeing the downside of what Pittsburgh didn't have in their system. They don't have goaltending. So you can definitely see they're struggling from the back end right now. I don't know what you're going to trade Letang for that's going to make you better now. Obviously nothing. So I don't see them doing too much, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe do they go out and get a goalie? Like in the interview I brought up, between the two goalies now, they're sitting at 110 games NHL experience, and their save percentages right now, both Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry, both their save percentages are actually hot or lower. Like Matt Murray has a better save percentage right now on Ottawa too. On Ottawa of all teams that getting lit up.
Much to me
He's got
there.
a better save percentage than both those goalies do right now.
There is,
So
there is a rumor that I read yesterday that the Pittsburgh is trying to get Marc-Andre Fleury back from Vegas. Vegas is saying that they're happy with what they have right now because obviously Vegas is top of the division again, and Leonard and Fleury are playing well, but apparently they have reached out and tried to see what it would take to pry Marc-Andre.
Fleury played amazing against San Jose last night. He came up with some big saves, kept them in the game, and they ended up winning 3-1. And I think a lot of that had to do with Fleury just shutting the door. He's still got it. He is still solid. And if Pittsburgh don't get him, come on, Seattle.
Yeah, you're right. That's for sure. He's a great goal, and you can't never go wrong with the 1-2, right? So you can't blame Vegas for not trading.
So it's hard to say to let him go because Murray did just win you cups. So I get why Pittsburgh let him go, but now they let go of all their goalies that gave him any kind of structure. So I feel like they're missing out on that aspect, and they really need to find something on that back end quick.
Yeah.
I don't think that rumor's over yet. I think that they're still going to try to get Marc-Andre Fleury. It may not happen right away, but I do think there's potential there. I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen, but I think that they're going to continue to inquire and see, what it would take.
So I ask you this question: as if you were in Fleury's shoe, would you be okay with going back to the team that just let go of you that simply, that easy? Or is it because you there's so many of the guys there and you had such a good time there, it's not going to be hard to go back?
So I think for Fleury, actually, it'd probably be a real positive thing. Like, his whole deal was he wants to be number one, not in a 1A situation. If he goes back to, if you go back to Pittsburgh, you're going to for sure be your number one. So I think for him that would be a good move, and also he's got a lot of familiarity with Crosby and Letang and Malkin and all the boys. I don't think there was any negative feelings or anything like that between the boys. So I think especially with new management, it could end up being a real good move. It's just whether Vegas wants to let him go.
I was just going to say that.
Where are you at?
I'm like, how can we move this to the next subject? I'm like, well, here we go. Yeah,
just like that, my man. Just like that.
Ryan, will you say it for us?
Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
There you go. I love
it. So moving on, boys, we're going to go to Stef's can't miss bet. This is starting to become the hot topic on the podcast here late in the show. Stef, what do you got for us this week in the can't miss bet?
I got a hot bet for you guys. You see what I did there? See? No. Okay. Anyways, so this week I was looking at it on the Monday schedule. We got a 9:00 start between Winnipeg and Edmonton. I do not know how, but Winnipeg is not the favorite in this hockey game. Edmonton is. They're giving Winnipeg a plus 110 on the money line. And I think you'd be crazy not to take that. In my personal opinion, I'm not going to speak for you guys, but I'm going to speak for you guys. Winnipeg's a better hockey team. So I couldn't believe that when I saw plus 110 on the odds. You got to hammer down on Winnipeg. It's a guarantee. Put the mortgage. Bet your youngest kid. Let's go. Let's ride this one out together.
So a $100 bet would return you $210 total, right?
Solid.
Perfect. So I agree. That's a money bet. You can't miss out on that one. Edmonton. I just don't see him being consistent enough to do anything. So I would be betting the house on Winnipeg there. Stef, it was nice to hear your lovely voice again there. It felt like we want to hear more of it. So let's hear your Laine and Torts story out of Columbus.
Well, I'll use my good voice this time. No. So obviously we've been following this story here ever since it went back to the trade with Dubois and then the Laine, all that stuff that's been going on. And before I even get to the Laine and Torts thing, I just want to point out Jack Roslovic. Ever since he's gone over there, he's got 9 games played for Columbus. He's got 9 points. What do we got here? 4 goals, 5 apples. So he's having a great start. The Columbus boy moving back to Columbus is really showing that if he has the right desire and motivation to play, he can be a heck of a hockey player. Now, with that said, let's get to the juicy stuff. Mr. Laine, as you heard at the beginning of the podcast, the boy has been
on the bench.
On the bench, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't take long for the kid to find the hot seat. But apparently, if you follow the rumors, all the stories out there, he deserved to be on the hot seat. You can't be talking back to coaching staff. You can't be lifting back to the coaches. That's your elders. You're always taught to respect your elders. And everyone knows in the hockey world, you want to talk shit to the guy that allows you to give you the minutes? That's not the best idea. That's not the smartest play. And Laine came out saying, he said, I didn't think that there would be any issues about this because it was all more of an in-house thing. And nobody really knows what he says. And I think the media is blowing this up way bigger than it needs to be. And for a prime example of that to be shown, you look at his next game. He played over 20 minutes the next game. He scored a goal. He performed. You look at last night, he only played, I think it was just over 15 minutes, but he got in a fight. He had a 2-minute minor, so he's got 7 minutes in the box. He also scored again last night. So I think the message was received. I think it's water under the bridge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I know my phone kind of blew up. This was what, Monday night? I think it was the first night of the new week. You know, we just dropped our podcast Monday morning, and my brother-in-law shoots me a text, and he's like, you got your topic for next week's podcast already? And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, that didn't take long. I know
No, right after, man.
I send it off to you boys and Stef right away. I know you're a Torts fan there, Tortorella fan, and you said it yourself. You said, like, he'll do what he has to do. And you sent me the article the next day, Cam Axton kind of sharing his story a bit there.
Yes.
And him just saying, look, if you're not going to play for Tortorella, if you're going to take a shift off here and there, he's going to show you where to sit. So, I mean, good on Tortorella for not wavering from what he stands for. And I think, like you said, Lonnie's a good, hard, smart hockey player. I think he received, obviously, what was brought down, the punishment. And I think both sides can move on from it. Ryan, I know. Yeah.
Carry on there. But I'm just going to say, you can definitely tell that Tortorella is not afraid to use the grocery stick at the store.
No. What do you mean?
He's not afraid to use the grocery stick. He'll divide that bench anytime.
Divide them. Yeah, you're right. He definitely divide that bad. That's great, Stace. I know, Rye, you mentioned to me when this first, like, we all kind of talk like we do when stuff like this comes out. And Rye, you mentioned about Tortorella, you kind of felt bad for because how it got blown up. If you want to just touch a little bit about that, maybe.
Yeah, like Columbus isn't the hugest market, obviously, being in the NHL. That being said, though, it feels like, the media attention around him because of who he is quite strong, and everybody has an opinion about every move he makes. The guy shouldn't have to explain why he benches a player. Yeah. He shouldn't have to explain every time he benches a player. He shouldn't have to, it shouldn't be a big storyline every time he does. The guy's just doing his job, and he's got a Stanley Cup. He obviously knows how to do it, other than his little stint in Vancouver. He's really good in Tampa, really good in New York. He's been good in Columbus, good coach. It's too bad. It's obviously, hopefully it doesn't lead to him leaving the NHL before he needs to. He's a pretty fiery guy. So from all accounts, his players love him. As long as you're a hard worker it's just, I just don't think you should have to put up with that. But I guess being part of the NHL, that's always going to be part of it.
And like part of being part of Columbus, when there's only like 20 people plus 5 media, and 20 of those people are hockey players to talk about. So like there isn't much going on there. So Tortorella is going to be the story.
Yeah,
great
point.
Yeah, I think so, but they're still having a good season. So I'm going to say we'll have to follow this one and see where it plays out.
What are you going to say? We got to keep a what on it?
We're going to have to keep an eye on it. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, even since then, obviously he had the most minutes of any forward the next game. So I agree with Stef. It's water under the bridge. Let's quickly just go around the NHL. Obviously, we talked about the Leafs there a lot with Wink. Obviously, they're leading the North Division. Habs are right there behind them. I think it's going to be one of those two going forward that'll win the division, but you never know. We'll see what happens with Calgary and the rest of the boys. But obviously, the Leafs are heading that division right now. In the East Division, you got Boston just trucking away like they normally do. Boston's been amazing. The goaltending's been amazing. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on Boston is, but they just continue to keep trucking. Steph, I know you kind of had the same thought I did that the first couple of games it looked like they were a little slow, and all of a sudden they've just jumped out and been amazing.
Yeah, from watching quite a bit of Boston this year, like at the very beginning of the year, watching them the first couple of games against New Jersey, and I was like I obviously Pasternak was out at that point, and that makes a huge difference when you look at like the power play and the way the lineup's adjusted, and even just the way like the other team attacks you or plays you. With that being said, though, they looked real slow, and I thought, is this the year that Boston just doesn't have the juice anymore? Like, because let's be honest, they've been good for a while now, so it was a shocker to see. But bring up the goaltending, one of the best tandems in the league. They're arguably in the top 3 of that conversation, no doubt in my mind. So that's always nice to have. Like, you look at Lack's numbers, they're just gross. You look at Tuukka's numbers, they're gross. And it's like, what more can you ask for, right?
Yeah, they just keep finding a way with that top line to keep scoring, and they're getting some depth scoring when they need it.
And just for everyone out there in the podcast world, I do love Brad Marchand. At me about it. Come at me. Come at me.
In the rest of that division, it's a pretty strong division. Obviously, they got Philly, who, despite having goaltending struggles with Carter Hart, has had a solid start to the season. Washington, who I said was going to miss the playoffs, they're still right there, even though it's early. the Islanders, who I think are probably going to make the playoffs. They've been playing well. In Pittsburgh, we'll have to see what happens with
up on
Burke.
Boston last night, actually, the Islanders.
Yeah, I mean they're still a good club. They're never going to win any beauty pageants, that's for sure, with the way they play. But they're certainly a team to watch. Pittsburgh, it'll be interesting.
In general, in the East, just a great division in general.
Yeah, there's that one. I think the other division is actually the better one, in my opinion, the Central.
I would have to disagree.
Man, you start going through the teams and their records. Tampa's just on fire again. Florida has had a stupid start to the season. I know we had that interview there a while back with Kyle talking about Florida.
Reese, boys are still rolling. Yeah,
they are still rolling. But before we just quickly get off to Boston and on to the next division, I just want to share a couple quick stats here and get my 2 cents in about this Boston team.
I love it. Bring the stats,
Stace
baby. Yes.
was just saying, big Marchand fan, leading the way, 14 games played. He's got 9 goals, 9 apples, 18 points on the season. And
he's on my fantasy
great
team.
Pick, Stace. Great pick. And not to be outdone. And I want to throw this one little stat out there for maybe some of the Marchand haters, because there's a lot out there. Through 14 games played this year, only 4 penalty minutes. Take a listen to that. That is impressive.
That's impressive.
Marchand to see him.
I was not expecting that stat at all.
That is
impressive.
Then you got Bergeron right there with Marchand. He's got 18 points as well. The one that jumps out to me is obviously Pastrnak through 7 games. Through half the games, he's already at 10 points through 7 games. Yeah,
that's
just being
insane.
back. And then their D, Charlie McAvoy, however you want to say it, through 14 games.
Depends
right.
where you're from, man.
He's got 11 points, not to be outdone on the blue line back there with 11 points. So Boston's off to a great.
How many games played for him, Reese?
He's got 14 with the rest, but he's third on the team in points for a blue line. Oh yeah,
that's solid.
So Boston's definitely got it. To mention what Stef you said, that they got a great tandem. They're good every year, and I think maybe there was some question mark there earlier in the year when they didn't score on even strength through the first few games. And, I think all the doubts and any naysayers now are quiet, that's for sure. Boston looks on charge. Rye, who's next for top divisions here that we can dive into?
Yeah, so I think, not to bring it back to the Leafs, but not being in the same division as Tampa and Boston has obviously helped them this year. You can see it. It kind of reminded me of the Jays back in the early 2000s. They're going up against the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox all the time. It's like no matter how good of a team they had, you're playing against 2 of the best teams in the league. It's just, it is what it is. So it's obviously helping them this year. The next division has Tampa in it. So Central Division, Tampa's leading the way again, even with Kucherov not playing. Stamkos was recently added to the COVID list, and they just keep walking away with it. They're just an amazing team. Obviously they got Hedman and Vasilevsky in net. They're just an unstoppable force. Florida, like I said, we had brought out. They're playing well to start the season, and even most of the rest of the division, like Carolina, has had a really good start to the season. Columbus has been better since Dubois left. Chicago and Dallas are both above 500. Chicago, I think, is really surprising some people. I think they expected Chicago to kind of be in the basement again, and even without Jonathan Taves playing this year, they're playing well. They're getting some really good goaltending from this Lehkonen guy I've never heard of, but he's playing well, and it's led to Chicago playing well. In Dallas, they have the fewest games played and due to COVID, but they're still rocking. They're still kicking like they were last year going into the Stanley Cup Finals, and I can see them playing really well. I think that division is going to be a tough one. You're talking about 6 teams for 4 spots, really, is what it's going to come down to. We'll have to see, but to me, that's the best division. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on the Central, but
yeah, I'm just looking here again his stats. I like to be a stat guy here for this one, and Braden Point, 16. He's got 16 points through 13 games played. The one that jumps out to me, like Hedman's no surprise to have 15 points through 13 games. The 2 that jump out to me the most for Tampa is, if anyone thought Stamkos was slowing down now that he's over 30, through 11 games played, he's got 14 points through 11. He's got 2 less games. I don't know if that's due to injury or whatnot, must be. And Sergachev, the up-and-comer there, 13 games played. He's got 10 points for a defenseman, so that's pretty good. That's a great one, like, to debate Drouin, Sergachev, who won the trade. I think Tampa Bay made out all right on their end, and if Drouin can still get his form, and he's on a good Montreal team this year too, so he's got lots of.
I'm gonna go with Sergachev because that thing he got to hoist over
the M
his
Cup,
head.
The Stanley Cup, yeah.
The Lord.
So I like to bring up the M Cup for the Spits anytime I can, right? So I didn't know if you're going with that one too.
Absolutely.
No, but yeah, that's great. Stace, what do you think about Tampa? Do you think they got that? They're going to run away with the division?
Yeah, I think they're just going to absolutely run away with this division. Like Chicago, I don't see them maintaining. I see them falling off the board. Columbus is going to stick around. Like Ryan said, Carolina and Dallas are two teams, obviously, to keep an eye on. This Florida is like really, they kind of got my eye. They only got a +2 goal differential, and you're kind of hovering around. Like if that goes anywhere in the negative range, you're going to be falling real fast off this cloud that you guys are living on. I'm just trying to be real for the people in Florida here. I'm just trying to be real. There's one team in the sun down there, and we all know where they're at.
That's good.
So moving on there to the last division, the West Division. In my opinion, St. Louis is leading that division right now.
Wait, Ryan, I want to cut you off there. I'm going to say that the best people in the Central is definitely got to be the Red Wings.
Wait. So Ryan, you just mentioned the West Division, and I hate to bring this up. I don't want to be that guy and rub it in your face or anything, but if I recall back to our first podcast together with Stef on the show, Stef and Ryan was both quoted on this podcast, ripping into St. Louis a little bit, saying they were definitely a pretender, and you weren't thinking they were going to make the playoffs maybe this year. Do you guys still hold firm to that, or is this the real Blues? Is it maybe a fluke? Is it?
Well, I'm looking. They're top of their division with 15 games played, 20 points. Vegas has 19 points, only 12 games played. So St. Louis is going to be taking a backseat already, starting tonight. Vegas wins tonight. Colorado has had McKinnon hurt and stuff. So like once they get healthy, watch out for them to make a push up there. But then I start looking at the bottom 6 teams here, the bottom 7 teams are absolute trash, like absolute garbage. Anaheim garbage, Arizona garbage. Minnesota garbage, LA garbage, San Jose garbage. What is this? The waste management plant? Like, holy cow!
It's St. Louis, Vegas, and Colorado, and then everybody else. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Ottawa and Detroit should maybe head down there, Stace? Go down to the waste management.
Yeah. we still place last.
Speaking of Ottawa, Reese, you're ripping on us for our take on St. Louis. I think you said that Ottawa was going to make the playoffs.
It was a bold prediction, my friend. It wasn't. That was like the bold prediction to me is.
Speaking of the bold predictions, anyone see how Markstrom played when he took that loss last night?
No. Did he?
Oh man, the guy had 45 saves and a 2-0 loss, or 2-1 loss. Sorry.
No, Markstrom's in Calgary for sure.
Yeah, numbers are good, boys. Just saying. Keep an eye on that
I know
one.
Off the record, you guys laughed at me for saying Matthews for 50 goals and 56 game season, but boys, he's on pace to be close to that. I'm just saying if.
Well, now it's not.
It's not. But I had to put it on the record. I would still maybe hold on to that. Maybe I'd be willing to take if we were doing a bold prediction thing our next time on. Maybe I might take that.
Are you saying we're bringing back bold predictions next episode?
Yeah, I like it, Steph. Good call out, buddy. Maybe a sneak peek on mine. Maybe I might change my mind, but maybe Matthews and 50.
Hey boys, quickly before we finish things up here, I got a question I've been meaning to ask you guys. Where do you guys rank Patty Kane in the league right now as like forwards? Is he still top 5 material?
No.
I would say like what he's doing with the rookies there and everything. I know he's having a great start to the season. I would almost I'm gonna say yes. I would definitely say yes. Like, how could you not want Patrick Kane? He's a veteran. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. How could you not want him on your team? Top five.
I'm with you. I still think he's still he might be borderline on that top 5 mark for me, but he's definitely sitting around there. Like, the guy's got 22 points on a bad hockey team.
I'm not taking anything away from the guy. I think he's a great hockey player. I just think that top 5 is so good. I just don't see him being better than some of those guys. Like, is he better than McDavid? Is he better than Matthews? Is he better than Draisaitl? Is he better than Crosby? Is he better than McKinnon? Is he better than Cale Makar?
But he doesn't even have Jonathan Toews.
Right. Pay attention. I said forwards there, Cale Makar.
Well, whatever.
Thanks, though, for bringing him into the conversation.
I was just saying top players, but yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, no, just not listening again. I feel you. I get it.
Yeah. Never listen when you talk when you get speaking gibberish.
What?
Boys.
So, boys, I think it's been a great episode again. Thanks to Wink for coming on. Great interview. We're really
put up 1 year in Bantam hockey when my dad was coaching him. Pretty sure it was like 23 games. The guy scored 72 goals or something.
He was good for almost a hat trick a game. Like, if he didn't get a hat trick, there was something wrong, man. Like,
yeah. We didn't even put goalies in that just to make it fair.
No, the guy was a stud growing up, obviously, and it was great to catch up with him. Haven't had the
chance. Stud on and off the rink too. The kid's a good looking cat too. Or maybe someone say a man rocket. Just looking boys.
Yeah, no, like a Greek god when he's up there on stage, but he's no, I mean, obviously it was great to catch up with him. Haven't had a chance to talk with him much through COVID, obviously, as much as everybody else is feeling that, not being able to see friends and family. So it was great to catch up with him. One thing before we let you guys go, big shout out to whoever in Texas, in the United States, is listening to this show. We just want to say a big thank you. You're I don't know who you are, but we'd love to.
We got two now, right? We got two now.
Yeah, 2 people in Texas listening to us.
Spreading the word, boys. Keep spreading the word.
Keep spreading the word down in Texas. We love that. We love to see that. That's fantastic. We do have people kind of all over Canada listening to us now, which is great. But the Texas one kind of grabbed our attention. We thought that was awesome. So whoever you are, we'd love to hear from you. And, keep up the good work of listening to the podcast. But that'll be...
Yeah, if we could get, like, an interview for the Stars, if he's a Dallas Stars fan or something, that'd
be great.
Epic.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. It's just great to see that how much support we're getting for the podcast from everybody involved. So we really appreciate it. And like I said, I would just love to see that when you get the listeners from Texas there, that really... it was great to see. But anyways, thanks again for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and enjoy your family day off. Take care.